Hey guys, what's going on? StormRider36 here, and I'm here for another GTA commentary. In the background, you're going to see some of the new DLC, the Lowrider DLC. I've just gone through the basics of it, and it's ridiculous. It's got my mind blown how much detail they put into this update, and I love it. I'm going to be playing this pretty much all day, probably. But the topic for today is going to be bullying. Bullying's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about, it's hard to bring up. It's hard for schools to even talk about because it's so prominent and it's hard to fight. Because the way to fight it is really just to pretty much put people through like a whole social like teaching type space. Because when you think about it, the reason people put each other down is because they're different from each other. So it's going to be hard to stop bullying from happening, which is a sad thing. But, you know, why does bullying happen? Bullying happens because we're all different. It's just like in my last video, we're all different from each other. So that means people are going to like and dislike the differences between people. And the people who decide to bully people don't know how to accept the changes that are between you and that other person. So they physically can't understand why you're different. And that's why they bully people, because they're lower social quality than you are. Because they don't know what to do. They have no idea how to handle the fact that you're different. All they know is that they are them, and they have maybe this small group of friends, and they're very close, and they only talk to people like them. And that just means that they're immature and they don't really know how to express themselves and how to accept people expressing them, how to accept other people expressing themselves, excuse me. But it's really just the differences within people is why people bully each other. Because, oh, you play Pokemon, I don't like you for that. Or something like that. Or that's nerdy. You know, it's labels that people have made just because of what the cool kids, air quotes on that one, say is good and what's bad and all that crap that I personally hate. But it's all about being different, and the person can't really accept the fact that you're different than they are. Maybe they are the unpopular kid and they don't like the popular kids because they're better at everything in the person's eyes, so then they bully other people to make themselves feel better. Or maybe you are the popular kid and maybe you have your insecurities but you don't want people to know about them because then you won't be popular. That's what you think. And then you bully people because then it hides your flaws. And that brings me into the next point that I have, which is really just the reason people are bullied is to mask someone else's flaws. They point out your flaws so that their flaws seem less noticeable. You know what I mean? So I was bullied because I'm really tall. I'm 6'3", and everyone else in my high school was shorter than me. I don't know why they were. And I got made fun of for it. How's the weather up there? Do you need me to get something from the low shelf for you? You know, little things, and people don't see that as bullying, but really, it is. If you do it constantly. Now, if you make it a joking one with your friend or something, that's not bullying because they know. But if it's a stranger, you have to make sure if you're going to jokingly insult somebody that they know it's a joke. You can't just say it and expect them to know what you're saying, because we're not mind readers. People aren't going to just know what you're saying or what you mean by what you say. So it's really about being careful. And bullies are just hiding their own insecurities. Maybe they're bad at math, but then they make fun of you for being smart. That's a big one. They could themselves be smart, but don't want people to know about it because they don't think it's cool. It's all about perception. And it's kind of sad that it comes down that people need to use other people to make themselves feel better, when really everyone could just get along and realize that being different is what makes everybody unique, and what makes other people like you is because you're different and you have your own unique qualities. Another big reason I think people bully is because of the environment that they grow up in. I grew up with 2 older sisters that tortured me. You know, older siblings, they do that stuff. They test stuff out on you because you're the younger one and they can get away with it. Some people, they might be the only child, but their parents might verbally abuse them, which then turns them into, that's how they show, maybe that's how they show affection. Or maybe that's how they know to show their feelings, is by verbal or maybe even physical abuse. And in their defense, that's not totally their fault, but at the same time, if they want to be a functioning person in society, they have to realize that that is just wrong, and that they're doing something wrong. Because you can't just get brought up by your parents. It's impossible. You're going to have outside influences, and most of today's outside influences are going to show you that at least physical abuse isn't really tolerated by anybody. You can't just physically abuse people and get away with it. Like, people generally don't like it. Verbal abuse is a little bit harder, though. Verbal bullying is on the rise because of social media. And really, it's, like I said, it's all about perception. Some people think bullying is criticism. They're not the same thing. Bullying, you know their weakness and you're attacking it. Criticism, you're telling them their weakness because you want them to work on it and get better and maybe make it into a strength. Or maybe make it able so they can compensate for that weakness. That's what friends and what colleagues do. Bullies don't care if you get better or worse at something. As long as you're worse than they are, they're going to attack you for it. And it's just not fair.
Quick, what you need?
And really, when you think about it, it's just awful.
Ready to go.
Because people don't really get other people that much, which is this, to be honest, the shitty part. Because if we all understood each other, it would make life so much easier to understand. You know, we would all understand each other and it would be a lot better. That's for sure. But in the end, you really can't help other people like that. Another reason why people are bullied is because they want to be cool. That's a big one. Everybody wants to be cool in school, which is mostly where bullying happens. Everybody wants to be cool, and they think if I bully this person like the other cool kids, then they'll accept me. It's not how it works in the real world, which is what upsets me, is that I got the wrong perception from high school and everything, and now I've been apologizing to people because I was like, oh, I was cool and everything. No, I wasn't. I was an idiot. I hate what I did.
You got your hydros?
So I just wish I could fix it, but you know, at the same time, you can't. So you have to just hope that people will just move on, and hopefully you didn't hurt them enough to cause big damage. Now, there's a very rare reason why people bully, and that's because they enjoy it. I personally don't like to think that people do it because they enjoy it, because I know I give people the benefit of the doubt that they could be better than that. But some people genuinely enjoy it, and that's, in my opinion, that's just awful, and they need therapy or something. But some people do. Some people genuinely enjoy watching other people suffer and everything, and that's sad, really. Because we should all try to support each other, and we should all try to help each other succeed. And it's just the fact that those people exist is the reason why other people find it okay to bully, because they're like, oh, this person does it, so why can't I do it? And it makes sense when you put it that way, because people want to rationalize why they can bully people and everything. People need rationalization in order to feel good about what they're doing. If you're out of the norm, you're not going to feel good about what you're doing, and it's pretty much the whole point. But enough on me harping about bullies. What should we do to help them, to fix the problem? Well, if you're the person being bullied, just get an adult. Tell somebody about it. Don't be afraid of what other people are going to think. Really, don't. Because if they're really your friend, they're going to help you, and they're going to want others to help you. If people call you a snitch and everything, they're not your friends, and you need to find different friends. Because if they're really your friend, they want you to succeed, and they want you to be okay. And they want you to, have a happy life, have a happy existence. They don't want you to live with somebody bullying you all the time. It's artwork, ain't it? And that's really a big thing. It's just that you need to help people. You need to help them to figure out what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because if they don't know what they're doing, they're not going to have a fun time. And if you truly like them, you need to help them with that. I'm getting on a little bit of a rant because it's, again, something I'm passionate about, and I want people to understand, that bullying is just a problem, really. And it's something that can be fixed. And that's where I have a little bit of hope, because I know people will fix it and everything. And it's just another point on bullying is this, that to help the kids that are being bullied, or to help the kids that are bullying, we need to teach them about this real social world. High school and high school and high school is not the real social world, and to high school kids it is, but in the real world, for the majority of your life, it's not like that. And that's where it kind of should be a different place. High school should accept people for being different. High school should help people who try to be different. It should encourage you to do what you like, not to go with the norm like high school usually does. Because in the real world, if you ever meet somebody who's a bully out of high school, one, you don't have to put up with their crap, because you're a person, they're a person, you're way better than they are right off the bat. And two, they shouldn't be out of high school. Their mindset is stuck in high school, and you don't have to care about them. They could be the CEO of a huge company. Their real life, probably miserable. They don't have many friends, probably, because they make fun of people. Or if they do have friends, they're people that make fun of people, so they're not going to have any friends outside of that group. And you should just feel better because you know that you're better than they are. And it's really just the fact that you need to stand up to people who bully, because they can't get away with that. And it's just encouraging them to separate another person from the rest of the world, and from the rest of the world. That's really it. And my last point, because I've been talking for 14 minutes, my last point is just that it's really all about perception. I said this before, and I'm going to just say it again here quick at the end. Perception is everything. It's what makes the world the world. Like, you see the world differently than the person next door, than the person maybe even sitting right next to you. Everybody sees the world differently. And that's why it's so important to understand people will not see the same things you do, and that's why you need to accept what they're doing and what you're doing. Because acceptance is the main way to stop bullying. Because if you accept somebody for who they are, you don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to like them. But if you accept who they are, you don't have to bully them and you don't have to worry about them. If you don't want to be friends with them, you don't have to. If you do, then you try. It's just all about what you accept and what you try to do. It's not about who thinks you're cool, because if you're going to be friends with people, you should be friends with people who already think you're cool or already like you. You shouldn't try to make them like you, because that just doesn't make sense. If they don't already like you, they're not worth your time, because they're not real friends. Real friends like you right off the bat. They don't need to know too much about you. I just want to thank everybody for watching. This has been Stormrider 36, and don't forget to dare to be different.